Hello? This doesn't feel Christmassy at all.
Wrong.
And who loves you? And who do you love?
Why can't you understand something that's so easy?
Wow. Transphobic piece of shit.
I was a marine biologist.
Well, that explains it.
I'm done with this. Freak out. I'm done with it. I'm done with this shit. Whose house is this?
Live from the nuke.
Whose house is this?
It's the Our Big Dumb Mouth podcast. Now, here's your host.
Whose house is this?
Midnight Mike, Joe, and Rich.
I'm not kidding. I'm not laughing.
Hey, everyone. Welcome back to another fun-filled podcast adventure. Hooray. My name's Midnight Mike, and Cretched is over there on the big screen.
I hate this place.
I don't hate this place. Every time.
Medications don't work. I've been here for 7 years.
I have here been 7 years. Actually, it's not been 7 years. How long has it been?
You officially joined putting things up on the screen initially, I think 2018?
Yeah, about that.
2018, 2019?
Let's find out. I've been trying to note those milestones. But yeah, it's been at least over 5, maybe coming up on 6 years.
Yeah. Congratulations. You're part of the few, the elite, who have graced this podcast with their presence for over 10 shows. Some people have come on. I've had people come on for 5 shows, and we never hear from them again. So
You're saying I've overstayed my welcome.
no, you're welcome.
Time.
A lot of people just don't come back. Like you and Joe have hung out. There was a point in time where Spanky was with the beginning of the show for like the first, 5, 6 years. He dipped out for a few years and didn't tell me. He just didn't show up. I would see him around town, and we would hang out, and then he'd just show back up again. He's like a cat. And, if there's stories of people like, I had my cat. I had, for 7 years, and then one day he was just gone, and he came back 3 years later. That's Spanky. That was Spanky to me in the podcast. And
the best I can tell, first started doing the image feeds initially in Slack, if you recall.
yes. Oh, yeah.
Not on the live feed.
Yeah.
So initially in Slack on 629, episode 629 in August of 2018.
Wow.
Then a month later, we moved that into the Discord as we migrated away from Slack, and then we were able to run that on a live stream. And then, because I wasn't on camera for the first year.
Yeah, you were behind the scenes, and then I remember during the show, Joe asked you a question. We're like, get on mic. Now you've been on mic, and that's fantastic. Because on days like today,
I can tell, not sure of the date, but January of 2020. So it was the first. Well, somewhere in January of 2020 was
just in time for COVID.
Current appearance. Yes, it was. We said, hey, this COVID thing's gonna be big. Let's get out in front of it.
Let's get Cretcher done on camera.
COVID.
And like you were saying a minute ago, yeah, it's a good thing I'm here. Otherwise, it would just be Mike prognosticating for 2 hours about
That's correct.
things.
Because
Joe's not here. Dang it. I don't joke when I say this. I get a good amount of my legitimate news from what Joe brings to the show twice a week.
Yeah.
He's got patents in laser optology.
Joe does have that. And
Joe is at a conference presenting on his laser optology.
He's giving
second career.
Yeah.
We all understand science and planets and intergravitational travel and wormholes and shit. What are you talking about?
Joe has to do some freelance work, and that's why he's not available today. But he might be back on Wednesday. Joe's looking for work. He's looking for a job. He's I gotta talk to him off air and see what's really going on. Maybe I could help him out. I don't know how. We're in different fields at this point, but maybe I know a person that could help Joe out. Let's see. Freelance work, it can be good, but I don't know.
It's highs and lows.
Exactly. It has its benefits and its deficiencies. But we'll do our best without our friend Joe here. I have plenty of stories to get to. We will take calls at some point during the show. And we'll get it all done, people. We'll get it all done.
Yay! It's everywhere.
That was specifically about white supremacy.
Yeah.
By the way, after I clipped that and made that little drop, and I think I posted it in Carrot Shop a couple days later, Joe said he was going through and just listening to those, and he apparently was at a coffee shop, and it was just coming out of his laptop speakers.
Yeah. Anyway,
so there's this
More
guy over
white
the corner.
supremacy!
There it is. Guy in the corner just talking about white supremacy. So I remember that little anecdote.
Cretched,
yeah.
a.k.a. Flavorton.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, John C. Thank you, Adam.
Do you have the one that that old Cretched? Do you have that one?
That old Cretched.
There it is. That's my favorite.
Here's Adam Curry right here.
It's about the size of a horse penis. It's really big.
I don't know what episode that is from a No Agenda, but Adam was calculating the size of something, and we all know the size of a horse penis. So
that's the first.
That's the go-to. Measurement
analog
device
he had there.
You didn't say 10 inches or anything like that. He went
It's about the size of a horse penis. It's really big.
Well, thank you for if we're still on the No Agenda stream, thank you. I guess. All right, let's get to some headlines. Let's get to some news. Let's make it happen. There's plenty of things going on.
Yes.
Oh, I hit the glory hole right here.
You did. You did, David Polydus. You did.
Weird comment from him, too.
A lot of people are wondering what David Polydus is up to. Well, I think he's working on a new movie. He hasn't put out any new books as of late. Once he put out that Missing 411 UFO connection, I think he went right back into pre-production, and he's got a new movie coming out. Although I don't think there's a time frame on it.
Be out when it's out.
It's ready when it's ready, people. Stop harassing.
Fool it.
Stop harassing them.
They're squiggly wiggly.
They are. Okay, so we got some headlines here. I'm going to do some current events. We'll do some current events, I guess, political stuff up front. And then we're going to do some UFO stuff. We're going to do I'm going to play an interview from somebody who holds a lot of the quote-unquote UFO patents. There are some articles going around, I think in 2019, maybe 2020. It's like, oh, my God, this guy. He works for this private company, maybe has some ties to the Navy, and he has UFO patents. And he does. And it's only, I think, as of recently, maybe the past 2 years, that he's actually been talking to people about this tech and what it could mean for humanity. So I'll play some segments from the most recent podcast that he did, because he's getting into topics that, as a person who's highly educated as himself, he's got degrees in physics and whatnot, and he gets into some weird topics related to this technology and who could be ultimately in control of it. He has discovered the path to this UFO tech on his own, or cobbled together from things that he's read, and he's been able to reverse engineers at least some of the mathematics enough to create patents. And he's got some interesting ideas as to what this may all mean for us. So I'll play some of those clips in a little bit. But first things first, I'll bring this headline up on screen, because this is one of the things that people have been waiting for when it comes to the Trump presidency. The UFO files, well, they're not being released, but it looks like the JFK files could be released. Now, here's the headline. Trump orders the release of the final classified JFK assassination documents. He did this, I believe, maybe a day and a half ago, 2 days ago. And this is...
Yeah, they're going to get right on that.
Here, yeah. So I'm skeptical on what we're going to get.
Because why would you be skeptical?
Because it never works out for us. No. Anytime we ask for the truth, we don't get it.
Piss.
We get a bucket of piss.
Piss.
So according to the Daily Mail here, the last secret files about the assassination of John F. Kennedy can now be published after President Donald Trump on Thursday ordered the declassification of all remaining documents about the 1963 murder. Now, I heard it differently. I didn't hear that he ordered the declassification. I read it, and from what I heard, he ordered the release of the documents. Now, that's, I think, different than ordering the declassification, because you can release things that are still redacted. Now, we got to take a look at the language. But
the official title in the executive order says declassification of records.
Okay, well, so he ordered that. Okay,
but this is where it gets squirrely. The title says declassification of records concerning assassinations of et cetera, JFK, RFK, MLK. But it says in Section 1, the government has not released to the public all records of these events.
No, they haven't.
Let's see, so what is he actually ordering? Like, what is the language said? I've ordered agencies to re-review each of these redactions over the next 3 years. Oh, that was 2018. What?
So this is pretty new. I'm going to go on the word of this guy. I'll bring him up on the screen. So I'm going to play a clip from Mike Benz. Mike Benz is a former government guy. He was on Joe Rogan within the past, I think, 45 days. He seems to have a good grasp on how the corporation of the United States works when it comes to the State Department and the inner workings of classifications. And he was on, let's see, I think he may have been on Fox or News Nation, and they were all excited about this executive order issuing the release of these documents. But he was like, hey, hold up a second. Let's not get ahead of ourselves just yet. So I will bring this up on screen. We can listen to what Mike Benz has to say because, initially when I read the headline, I was like, oh, good. We're going to get these documents. But yeah, I'm naive.
I did find the actual. So after your clip, I did find the actual language.
Okay.
On what the order says, and it's a little squirrely. So.
Well, we're going to find out here right now.
You're not wrong at all, actually. While I think it's very heartening that Trump made this a week one action, and in some respects it is promises made, promises kept, there is a lot of problems with the way that the executive order is actually worded. It provides 15 days for the acting Office of Director of National Intelligence to provide a plan to the president about the declassification, and then 45 days to review the documents for release. Now, the problem with that is the current head of the ODNI, Stacey Dixon, is a Biden appointee who, frankly, has gone against Trump's stated policies on many, many occasions, including her making DEI the number 2 priority item of the National Geospatial Agency when she was the head of it, who spent 20 years of her career in the CIA and could very well, there are rumors currently that she may be working to stop or forestall the appointment of Tulsi Gabbard, who is Trump's pick to be the ODNI director. As the Senate Intelligence Committee ranking member, Mark Warner on the Democrat side is stalling Tulsi's confirmation hearing. 15 days is not nearly enough time to get Tulsi in charge of this plan. Now, this is very important because back in 2020, Tulsi Gabbard was spotted with a copy in her hand of a book called JFK and the Unspeakable, which is a meticulous dissertation on the CIA's role in the JFK assassination. There's actually sections going over reviewed documents declassified in the 1990s showing that the CIA actually had a counterintelligence operation around Lee Harvey Oswald where they were literally reading his physical mail before it came to his home in the months leading up to the assassination. So they knew everything that Lee Harvey Oswald was doing, and there's an open question whether or not they were working through back channels or simply allowed it to happen. But they were wiretapping his devices, they were reading his physical mail, and Tulsi Gabbard, the incoming head of the Office of the Director of National Intelligence, knows it, having read that book, having it been spotted in her hands. But Stacey Dixon, who will be the one tasked with carrying out this executive order, I would be quite surprised if she took the same level of aggression. So this does seem to me set up to fail. There are also other issues, which is that the documents that are currently called the JFK files up for review are about 75,000 pages of documents that have been digitized by the CIA, meaning basically the defendant in the case is the one who is setting what is even up for discovery. There have been many whistleblower reports that there are paper records from 1961, 62, 63 that simply never were digitized and that are laying in Langley in paper boxes, eyes only, that are not a part of the JFK files to be reviewed by the ODNI. So what we need is a totally separate and independent audit that is a separate canvas to be put together in a White House task force in order to conduct an independent review. And I don't believe leaving this to the current acting ODNI will actually get the result the American people are presently expecting.
There you go. Okay. I have no reason to deny it. Like that seems just about right. That seems about right.
So to summarize his 4-minute diatribe there, it was, or I guess monologue is more accurate. He doesn't believe it, and even if they do, there'll be shenanigans.
Pretty much.
Okay.
And that even if they release it, they're just going to release the digitized stuff and not all the really interesting, super cool stuff that wasn't digitized, because that requires extra effort. And so to further summarize it even more,
have a computer problem.
They're having computer problems.
Computer's broke.
They couldn't digitize any more documents because the scanners broke. The computers broke. So, yeah, I step in the right direction, but it ultimately is going to be, I think, a swing and a miss. But maybe I'm being too pessimistic here.
Well, here's an and I do have the actual language here, but here's a thought: could they instead, because this is the executive order mentions all three assassinations: John F. Kennedy, Robert F. Kennedy, Martin Luther King Jr.
Yeah.
Could they say as part of this, okay, well, we're going to release one of them, but not the other two? I mean, could it be something like that? It's odd to me that all three are not in three separate executive orders. But
yeah, well, yeah, I don't know. It seems like this is Trump being lazy, stacking them all together.
Hey, to be fair, at least they're talking about it.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, as much as we all want full UFO disclosure, it's not happening. But at least people are now talking about it much more so than they were, say, 5 years ago.
Correct. It's a step in the right direction.
So here's the language in the actual executive order for this one. Again, the title is the full title: Declassification of Records Concerning the Assassinations of President John F. Kennedy, Senator Robert F. Kennedy, and the Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. So it says declassification in the title.
Good.
But in the language, it says declassification and disclosure. This is from the language on the whitehouse.gov website, Section 2. Within 15 days of the date of this order, so we're already like 3 days past that, the Director of National Intelligence and the Attorney General shall, in coordination with the Assistant to the President for National Security Affairs and the Counsel of the President, present a plan to the President for the full and complete release of records relating to the assassination of President John F. Kennedy. So in Section 2, Paragraph A, they have cut JFK separate from RFK and MLK and said 15 days to come up with a plan for the full and complete release of records.
Let's do it.
So
digitized or not.
Yeah, I mean, that's a little Weasley there because they just need a plan within 15 days. They don't have to actually release anything, but the plan should be for a full and complete release of records.
So
as part of that, I guess that means non-redacted
and
declassified.
Okay. Well, we will see what happens, and hopefully we'll get some more information.
And then the second part, Section 2, Paragraph B, relating to RFK and MLK, within 45 days of the date of this order, the same people, Director of National Intelligence, Attorney General, coordination with the Assistant to the President for National Security Affairs, and the Counsel of the President. So within 45 days, all those people shall review records related to the assassinations of RFK and MLK Jr. and present a plan for the full and complete release of these records.
Here's the problem, and this is the problem with bureaucracy. It's not like the director of national intelligence is going to walk down, grab the records, and peruse them all by themselves. They're going to make a task, and it's going to be farmed out to one of their goblins.
It's going to be a blue ribbon committee.
Yeah, it's going to be farmed out to one of their goblins, and the goblins are going to basically have a lot more control over what is given to the director of national intelligence and the planning. Because the director of national intelligence is probably far too busy to worry about this event that happened 70 years ago. They're being inundated with a whole bunch of other current nonsense. And so they're not doing it themselves.
They'll get an intern to do it.
They're going to get it. Yeah. They're going to get a goblin intern to do it.
The goblin.
Pot-bellied goblin.
Yeah. So I got another headline here. This is Trump. It's part of some Trump news right here. And here it is up on screen. Make America healthy again. Seed oil lobbyist will be chief of staff at the USDA.
I love that headline.
So, you know, all those seed oils like sunflower seed. What else we got? What other kind of seeds we got that's in seed oil?
Rapeseed, a lot of the garbage mixed blended olive oil stuff is full of all sorts of just random.
So it's in a lot of chips now. They can claim that it is like organic and all this stuff because they use seed oil, but it's crap. And I guess a seed oil lobbyist will be the chief of staff at the USDA.
That's good news.
It's not good news.
Top ones are rapeseed or canola. Because keep in mind, canola oil, it's a made up, what is it, Canadian Oil
I have no idea.
Something like that. But it's rapeseed is the actual name of the plant. I'm sorry, canola is Canada oil low acid is canola. So canola is not a thing. It's a made up brand. But the top seed oils, canola or rapeseed oil, corn oil, cottonseed, soybean, sunflower, rice bran oils, and safflower. So don't eat those. And watch out for the olive oil blends because some of that stuff has all sorts of random shit in it.
Yeah, I typically will only eat things with avocado oil.
Avocado's good. Coconut oil is good.
Yeah. You can...
I think palm oil also.
There's also...
rice.
Yeah, rice oil.
Beef
oil.
Fish
oil.
Ooh.
Poultry
oil.
Wheat
oil.
And now
what?
Coffee
oil.
Coffee oil.
Yeah.
I wonder if you could get enough oils out of coffee.
I don't know.
How much would it take to actually get like a bottle of oil?
I don't know. Trump's thinking of something different.
Food, bacon.
Bacon oil.
Ham
oil.
Apples.
Apple oil.
Was it Arby's? Somebody just switched over with was it Arby's?
I don't know. But it sounds like Arby's is willing to do anything to get people to come back through the doors. The Arby's army is not rallying the troops like we thought they would.
Someone just announced they were shifting. Somebody just said they were shifting over to beef tallow, and I think it was it Arby's, Wendy's, somebody? Someone will know.
Arby's, we have the meat.
They got the meat. Is it maybe this?
Long John Silver's.
I guess it was Steak and Shake.
Oh, nice.
They're switching all their oils over to beef tallow. So,
very nice.
Hey, one step at a time, I guess.
Hottest cool treats. We treat you right.
That used to be the way that all the big chains were using beef tallow for their cooking oils. And then they went to this garbage seed oil, canola, corn oil blend stuff.
Well, I got some more news here, some more Trump news. People are probably wondering how things are going. Trump has ordered the deportation of illegal immigrants. And how's that going? Well, we will bring this up on screen. Here is this is from the mirror.com. And here is the headline here. Trump's first deportation flights with an average of just 80 migrants cost up to $852,000 per trip.
Oh, really?
Wait, with how many people on it?
80.
Hey, that's cheaper than what they were giving them that's less than $10,000. That's cheaper than what they were giving when they got to New York City. So
yeah, so about just over 10 grand
Also, it's
per
interesting
migrant.
now that people are upset about that. So,
as part of the ongoing effort to carry out mass deportations throughout the country, President Donald Trump has employed the use of the Department of Defense resources to return many migrants to their home countries. Well, migrants, illegal whatever you want to say. Publicly available data suggests that using U.S. military planes to fly migrants out of the country may be significantly more expensive than flights chartered by the Department of Homeland Security. The U.S. defense official, an official told CNN that military has not begun to calculate the cost of the flight. Since a national emergency was declared by Trump on Monday, and officials are moving as quickly as possible with little regard to cost, the official said. Okay.
Wow. For a group who was not concerned about costs coming in, they're all bent out of shape and pearl clutching now.
Yes, they are. They're upset about the cost of dealing with this.
And I guarantee this has to do with the military in general being more expensive to do the stuff. They're not set up to do these sorts of things. So it was like, hey, just use one of your airlift wings to do this. Just get it done. And so, if you were to calculate daily cost on it, it's probably exorbitant. But that's why the military-industrial complex and wars cost so much. Or let me rephrase, why they charge you so much.
Well, here's another headline here.
Look at these headlines.
And this headline here is in relation to the other one, where Mexico refuses to accept a U.S. deportation flight. Yes, the Mexican government has criticized President Donald Trump's unilateral immigration action, and the landing would have required Mexico's assistance. Yes, Mexico denied a U.S. military plane access to land Thursday, at least temporarily, frustrating the Trump administration's plans to deport immigrants to the country, according to two U.S. defense officials and a third person familiar with the situation. Two Guatemala-bound Air Force C-17s carrying about 80 people, that very plane that cost about almost $900,000, flew deportees out of the United States Thursday night, the sources said. The third flight, spotted over Mexico, never took off. So there you. So
wait, the flight that wasn't allowed to land never took off?
Well, there's like three flights. Two of them were not allowed to land, and a third said, "Well, we're not even going to take off if you're not going to let us land." And it's not immediately clear why Mexico blocked the flights, but tensions between U.S. and Mexico.
Geez, I wonder.
The tensions between U.S. and Mexico, neighbors and longtime allies, have risen since Donald Trump won in November. Trump has threatened to slap a 25% tariff across the board on Mexico in retaliation for migrants crossing the border, but he has not yet put them into effect. White House officials said in a text that the flight thing was an administrative issue and was quickly rectified. So, okay. So they're dealing with it on the back end. Okay. Just some Trump news for you.
Was it somebody? I saw it this week. I think was it News Nation or somebody was running a live ticker like they did during COVID, but for the number of people deported.
Oh, I know. I didn't know that. Is that that thing?
Yeah.
Someone did it. I didn't.
I think someone made that up.
It's a total fabrication.
Yeah, Jonathan Frakes himself did it.
Yeah.
Read about it.
No. He's teaming up with Ron Perlman.
Fair enough.
Ron Perlman demands that you read about it. Jonathan Frakes says it was purely fiction.
Yes.
Who was doing it? Somebody was doing it.
Okay, we find it. I'll read this this other headline here just to finish up some Trump news because people love Trump news. The latest Trump merchandise to drop. You can buy a Gulf of America t-shirt. It can be yours with a $47 contribution there, people. All right.
Huh.
So there it is. It doesn't have like what I would expect, like a picture of the United States with, Gulf of America in place of the Gulf of Mexico. It's just a t-shirt that has the words Gulf of America on there. I mean, we could make this right now, Cratchit, and start selling it, and I'm surprised we haven't.
I've been selling those for a couple of weeks now. For
you have it? Okay. I didn't know you.
$46.
So you're undercutting the president with $47. Okay.
That's right.
Does yours include shipping?
No, you pay shipping, and we're using the U.S. military for shipping. It is very expensive.
Oh, well.
Would be great.
$46 for the shirt, $275,000 for shipping.
It'd be great if Trump
sold one, so I'm good.
Ordered boxes of these T-shirts loaded onto C-17s and dropped over Mexico. Here you go, free T-shirts. So there you go, and let's not forget our former president, Joseph F. Biden.
Buy a shotgun.
I think it was R, but because he was Joseph Raisinette Biden.
JFB. That's what I'm going with.
Just putting F's in there.
So Joe Biden, he's in a bit of hot water with the Catholics. Now, do you know anything about why he's in hot water with Catholics, Gretchen?
I don't know. He's not Catholic because he grew up in the black church, if you recall.
Mm-hmm.
Your child.
Well, he's in hot water because of this story. This comes from The Pillar, pillarcatholic.com. And the headline reads, "Did Joe Biden join the Freemasons?"
I love that headline.
Yes. An announcement surfaced online Friday, issued by the Conference of Grand Masters of the Prince Hall Lodge Freemasonry, and stated that the Grand Lodge of South Carolina has conferred membership on President Joe Biden. He's in, people. He's in.
Not a joke.
And here's a fairly, I would say, awkward picture with Joe Biden and a Freemason, a black Freemason who's wearing a top hat, a gold sash, and like some sort of gold fringe kilting. Very Masonic kind of wear that he's adorned in. And Joe Biden's there smiling. Now, we don't know if he knows where he's at, but
I was going to say, does he know he's there?
Does he know he's a Freemason now?
The great MAGA king.
His nurse, handler, wife just walk him in somewhere?
Well, let's read more now. According to the announcement dated January 19th, a day before Biden left office. So, I mean, interesting timing there. But a day before he left office, the president was granted a resolution of membership to the lodge in recognition of his exceptional dedication and service to the United States, which reflects the core values of the most worshipful Prince Hall Grand Lodge of free and accepted Masons of the state of South Carolina, including brotherly love, relief, and truth. That's what it said. Quite a mouthful. It is not uncommon for outgoing presidents to be honored by groups and organizations, but as the second Catholic to hold the office, Biden's new membership of the lodge presents a particular issue. Catholics have been banned from joining Masonic lodges and organizations since 1738 and are subject to canonical penalties for doing so.
Like Thomas Jefferson.
Maybe. Was Jefferson? I think Jefferson was a Mason. I think most of our founding fathers, I think 70% were Masons. And then it goes into like a little Freemason history here. So, yeah, it's so with all these fraternities, a lot of them are benign. Like the Freemasons, in general, benign. They do a lot of community work. It's a place for guys to go and hang, get away from their spouses and whatnot. But there are cliques within every group, and it's almost like a networking opportunity. And so you'll get into these Masonic lodges or Bull Moose Lodge, what have you. And if you are in the know, then you will be part of a different clique. And then you might work your way up until next thing you know, you're doing satanic rituals at some Masonic lodge in Maryland, deep in the basement, and there's a goat head on the floor. And you joined up just to, initially help the community. And the next thing you know, you're sacrificing a goat. And you're like, how did I get here?
Yeah, don't do that.
That's how it works. There's groups within groups, and some of this shit is pretty dark. But on the surface, Masonry is not. But We go below the surface. It certainly can be. Depends on how high up you go.
So this does say from 1738 till 1983, Catholics who publicly associated with or publicly supported Masonic organizations were censured with automatic excommunication.
That's what Thomas Jefferson wanted.
No, other way around. But the current norm post 1983 states that all faithful who enroll in Masonic associations are in a state of grave sin and may not receive Holy Communion. So you're not excommunicated, but you also can't receive communion. So kind of up a creek. So yeah Biden,
he's out. He's no good.
He's always talked proudly about his Catholic faith in the black church. Apparently,
That's the end of that.
Yeah, he's gonna find himself in a pickle here.
He's shit out of luck. You're going to start celebrating Christmas at the Masonic Lodge next to that goat head on the floor. So there you go, people.
I suspect, like you said, he doesn't even know he was there.
Well, I just implied that he might not know, but
I'm pretty sure he's not sure he was there.
All right.
Or not sure. He's just getting propped up and wandering around.
So how does this article wind up?
Yeah, it started with Biden's in hot water with the church. How's it wind up?
Okay, so here it is. This last sentence. So they offered him membership, but whether or not Biden actually accepted the Masonic membership conferred upon him is a question that only he can answer and only the Pope can judge. So they're going to get away with it. So they're not going to really, only, this is between the Pope and Biden, and we don't really know if Biden accepted this membership. It's kind of weird. It's almost like when Biden issued those preemptive pardons for everyone, and it's like, well, some people might not accept those pardons, so it's not that big of a deal. They were offered, doesn't mean Fauci's going to accept that pardon.
Well, but that's kind of a Weasley way out, like the smoked but did not inhale that Clinton famously used.
Yeah, classic. Only Clinton could come up with something so brilliant. Classic.
You get the picture.
Wow, he doesn't sound good there.
No, he's a little hoarse.
Now, back to business.
Yes, back to business. We're going to...
That's a good bumper there.
We're going to transition over and talk about some weird stuff.
Yes.
Now, one of our favorite, I guess, Congress people, Congress critters, I don't like that term, but I just used it, is Rep. Tim Burchett of Tennessee. He's been an outspoken person when it comes to the UFO phenomenon, leading, participating in congressional committees, trying to get more transparency from the government on this topic. And he speaks pretty plainly. He's from Tennessee. He doesn't like to mince words. And he is just trying to convey to people what may be going on to the best of his knowledge. At least that's what I hope. I hope. This is what I get from what I listen to him. So I will play this clip here. This is him talking to some news organization. It might be. He's talking to somebody. It could just be a telephone pole on the street. I don't know.
Could be the national news organization, the Masonic Lodge.
It could be. He could be talking to the Masonic Lodge people. Actually, he is actually talking to Matt Gaetz on One America News, which is weird. But I guess, Matt Gaetz has got to work somewhere, so I guess he's working for One America News now.
He's got to work somewhere.
Because remember, he was, Trump nominated him to be Attorney General, and everyone was up in arms about that because he was accused of doing some pretty hinky things.
There was an ongoing, multi-year, what would you call it?
Investigation.
Scam associated with somebody using fake IDs to trick people and
it appears
payments and all sorts of shit. And the FBI was involved in it, and this was going on in 2017, 18, 19 time frame, I think.
It's a convoluted story. It sounds all wacky, but it appears as though Matt Gaetz may have been set up and as part of some sort of blackmail operation in an effort to free somebody who was imprisoned overseas. It sounds bizarre, but it does appear that way. But regardless, I will play this clip from Tim and Matt talking about some UFOs. Here we go.
It does seem a lot of these UAP sightings are over water. Do you think there's anything to that and the basing concepts that you were laying out?
I do. When I've talked to people, or their sonar people, and the way they hide it from us, Matt, they say it's because our sonar, I believe, I haven't been briefed on this, I'm just from what I'm putting together, but we have some secret sonar. But what's so crazy about it, like we're hiding it from the Chinese. Well, heck, Matt, the Chinese sold us the components for it. They know it's in our sonar probably better than we do. But when they tell me something's moving at hundreds of miles an hour underwater, and our capabilities are, I don't think we have anything that'll do 40 miles an hour. And these things, this one was large as a football field underwater. And this was a documented case. And I have an admiral telling me this stuff. And it just, to me,
So that's where you think the bases are, is underwater then, because of those reports?
I do. I just think traveling light years, I think it happens. I think it's possible. The vastness of God's great universe. I mean, light years, the light from those stars that we see at night left there before the time of Christ. I mean, the vastness of God's great universe is unreal. Yeah. And I'm not worried about them harming me. I mean, if they, with that capabilities, they would have barbecued us a long time ago, brothers.
All right. So Tim Burchett saying a football field-sized craft traveling at 100 miles an hour under the ocean, and that base is also at the bottom of the ocean. And he was just telling that to Matt Gaetz nonchalantly. So, okay.
That's where I keep my UFOs.
Yeah, I accept that. That's been one of the theories going for a long time. And he said, like, yeah, maybe these things, like, this is what I got out of it, is that they could be from a few light years away, but apparently they're coming from right here. The call is coming from inside the house. That's what I'm getting at. And that apparently is the going theory that Tim is going for. So I'm going to stick with that. I like that. And that kind of rolls into the next set of clips I have from Salvador Pais. Now, Salvatore Pais is a physicist who has various UFO-related patents. I think this really came to light in 2019, 2020, where people were looking up various electrogravitic kind of technologies and realized, oh, there's this guy, Salvatore, who seems to have quite a few patents related to UFO technology.
Laser optology? Oh.
Not laser optology, UFO technology. Not like Joe, not like our buddy Joe.
We all understand science and planets and intergravitational travel and wormholes and shit. What are you talking about?
What about patents? Where's the patents one?
Where is the...
Yeah, they turned the cows inside out so that they could go across dimensions. It makes nothing but sense.
No, here it is.
He's got patents in laser optology.
It took a second to get there, but we got there.
I forgot about the cow juice. Didn't he call that Astroglide? Wasn't that his term for it?
Yes, I think so. That was my term for it. That was my term.
Or your term?
Yeah. So this guy, Salvatore, he was on the Jesse Michaels podcast, and it's about an hour and a half long sit-down interview. And I'll post the full interview in the podcast description for the people who are downloading on audio only. And so it is Jesse Michaels across from him is Salvatore. Sitting right next to Jesse is a guy wearing a ball cap and a Skunk Works hoodie. And he's not giving his full real name. He's going by some sort of like fake name, but he does have what appears to be a deep understanding of physics and all these topics. And he's almost acting as a translator between what Salvatore is suggesting, so he can communicate it to Jesse. I don't want to say he's a handler to Jesse Michaels, but perhaps he is. and he is like a technological filter. So all the deeper over our head physics, this guy seems to be able to break it down pretty concisely. But they don't mention his name. So in this first clip, they are talking about possibly the origin. So this podcast it's tough to clip it. Yeah, there are timestamps, but the timestamps that are given on this are not necessarily relevant to what they're talking about. And this guy Salvatore keeps dodging away from like that there are ETs, like extraterrestrials. He keeps going throughout the interview. He keeps pointing to the past and referencing things that have occurred a long time ago. Whereas Jesse keeps bringing up these like Roswell and Nazi Bell and some of these incidents that are well documented, at least from the UFO community standpoint. But Salvatore's like, I don't know if that's a crash, and he keeps referencing older books and older events as if the things that he is researching and has patented are not necessarily UFO technology, but ancient tech that have been kept secret for a long time. And so this first clip, he mentions a book, The Book of the Damned by Charles Fort. So I'll play it here, and I'll bring it up on the screen as soon as I can. Here we go.
Well, there's a book out there.
Okay, what's the book?
Charles Fort, Book of the Damned.
Uh-huh.
It starts with very interesting words. It's, I believe we are property. ... Read that book. It's very interesting.
Sure. What's the?
It's for your audience. Let them look into this. Little breadcrumbs.
We're property.
So we are property.
So we're already colonized.
What are we? Again, the whole idea of are we a civilization with amnesia? As a certain gentleman.
Well,
Graham Hancock,
sure. Well, we definitely seem to, follow this like local incentive scarcity gamified thing that doesn't seem like it's in the best interest of our race ascending into anything, more real. And that's the thing that attracts me to the whole UFO phenomenon for all its weird cast of characters and, Hall of Mirrors vibes. It feels like a somewhat transcendent topic where, maybe we can ascend out of our
I think we will soon enough anyway, face a tremendous threat from without. And I believe, as the great Ronald Reagan once said, if we do not come together as a unified earth, we will not withstand what's coming.
Do you think it's already, you have these rumors of like, the gray aliens sort of collecting biological samples.
I do not know. I truly do not know.
Why do you
there's
think
almost
this contact? Because that's a really big assertion.
Do you ascribe to the battlefield preparation hypothesis that the vehicles acting aggressively with fighter planes, that the vehicles, overflying the missile fields and shutting missiles off?
Of course, they're testing us.
Hostile.
Do you think so?
Oh, and that's why we should be very careful on putting all our money into reverse engineered ET craft because they already have their own technologies. They know how to defeat their own thing.
What if there's good factions and bad factions? Like when I speak to Robert Hastings,
I'm praying for that because otherwise we do not have a chance in hell.
Well,
so this goes on. So, but he did, like I said, reference the Charles Fort book and basically said we're owned by somebody. We're the property of somebody, and we are just unaware of it at this point. Now, in this next clip, but he did also mention there an external threat, and that is one of the positions that is repeatedly used by people like Lou Elizondo and some of these military whistleblowers, that we have to be worried about a military or a potential threat by some other civilization. So militarily, we got to be ready for some sort of external threat. And that's what this should be about. Whereas Dr. Stephen Greer is like, no, they're all good. All these ET, they're good. They're friendly. They just want to come down and give us popcorn and candy.
I got popcorn. I didn't get the candy. All I got was popcorn.
Well, didn't pay your taxes. I don't know what to say. But he, as you noticed, that he didn't really talk about ET too much. He's like, I don't know about alien abductions. He didn't even want to talk about alien grays or anything like that. It is some sort of nebulous threat light years away. And that's what Lou Elizondo is speculating too, is that there is an alien fleet possibly a couple light years away. So we got to get ready. We have to get ready now. But in this next clip, Jesse Michaels is talking about ancient technology. So one of the rumors, at least stated by David Grush during his testimony, is that the United States military recovered a UFO in the 1930s, 1940s, and that is in our possession. We got it from Italy, and they're talking about during this clip like the Nazi bell, like the acorn, and that kind of technology. And so this is what Salvatore has to say about that kind of tech.
Or something like that.
That would be a very interesting,
or if it wasn't anything.
Scary as shit, hell. If it's true, it's because the implications of fuck.
But so do you think that was a UFO crash? You don't know.
I don't know.
But like in 1933, you don't have some sophisticated bell object that you're building. It's like, need to brownie crap.
Again, the Pais effect, 1890s physics.
Okay. So you think people like maybe Gerloff figured this out?
What I'm worried about is Walter Bosley, the friend of Dr. Joseph Farrell. Mm-hmm. Walter Bosley, the whole idea of Ninja. Who the fuck were these guys? The airship, quote unquote, mystery. What's going on here? Because that's around Heaviside Science. That speaks to the Pais effect.
Yeah, but that's a really quick translation from physics to engineering. You think the 1890s airships?
There was some
terrestrial
engineering geniuses back there. Look at Nikola Tesla.
But that would just be wild. That's beyond belief to me.
What if it's all fucking connected?
Do you think it could all be human stuff from the 1890s on?
All of the records could be gone,
I mean, but that's just a crazy cover-up.
And just use the AT craft kind of like, because they never, again, I believe their fucking craft touches on manipulation of the super force.
Yeah.
How the fuck do you do that? How do you manipulate something at the Planck scale?
Keep that secret for 140 years. That seems great.
They also didn't have a lot of the materials technology advances yet.
Sometimes survival makes you crazy.
They would need some sort of parapsychological root access to, control. They would need, the mind stuff.
Sure. That,
in order to,
or possibly a brotherhood of the occult.
Yeah, something like that, like a breakaway civilization, like that.
Breakaway civilization.
Arriving at some insights.
Read up on Dr. Farrell's ideas on a breakaway civilization. Also Dolan. Don't forget Richard Dolan.
But who in the 1890s would have been privy to Heaviside's insights in a way that allowed them to finance the building of, these exotic craft?
No, there's some powerful families back then. I'm not going to name names. These are still extremely powerful. Put it this way. It's much better that we know certain names, but we don't know the invisible ones. Because touching even on the invisible one's existence is not a good idea. And it impacts our survival. And again, none of us here are suicidal. We love being alive.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So they're not even he's not even going to name the rich families that could have possibly financed this advanced tech back in the late 1800s because they are still around and are still influential. And that's what he's insinuating there. I mean, there's a lot of name dropping in that clip, and if you don't know the names, it's tough to untie it all. But I'll do my best. So what he's insinuating there is that the tech that he's working on, he's basically the tech that Salvatore's working on. He's basically in parallel reverse engineering technology that was around in finance back in the late 1800s, early 1900s, and it was financed by very powerful families. And the problem is that some of this technology, in order to get it to work, it requires a mind-matter connection. And there is this X factor there. And so he mentioned that, how do you keep this secret? How do you do this? Well, he mentioned occult practices. And if you read like Alan Greenfield's book, The Secret Rituals of the Men in Black, he goes into this, that this ancient tech is not only used by people that can interface with it mentally, it's also guarded by these secret orders. You can call it like Knights of Malta, some of these darker fraternities, like what I just insinuated with the Freemasons. There are basically cliques within these fraternities that would guard these technological ancient secrets throughout the generations. And they finally got to a place in the 1800s, especially with people like Tesla and powerful minds, even like Maxwell, the guy who was really profound with electromagnetics, that they could build some stuff. They couldn't do it all because the material science wasn't there. They could do some of it, like some of the airships. And we read some of those airship stories here on the podcast, where these airships sometimes would just appear out of nowhere, and that they would land down. They would do essentially yoga in front of just the farmers out there in Tennessee, do weird hand gestures, go back up to the airship and travel on. And there's plenty of these sightings back then. But that's what they could do with the technology at the time. And this guy, Salvatore, has been able to replicate some of that using modern day methods, modern day technology, and he seemed to have figured it out. And so it appears as though, and he says Joseph Farrell has a really good grasp on this as well. But also I'd point to people like Dark Journalist, where Dark Journalist also says that within the UFO file, there is the ancient human tech that we have, which is closely guarded secret. And then there's the ET tech. And they're not necessarily the same thing. And some of the stuff that the Nazis may have been reverse engineering, like the Nazi Bell, that could have been human tech from the late 1800s, and they were just trying to figure out how it worked and how to weaponize it. After the war, we grabbed some of it, and we are still trying to reverse engineer it or have made it operational. Unknown. But there's a parallel civilization of humans with this tech that they don't want us to know about, because it would be very disconcerting to the general population. Does that make sense to anybody out there? Probably not. But it does to me, because I read all this shit. So, 1 second, Cretch. I got to let my dog out of the room. It's too hot in here.
Mike's dog is very demanding when it comes to temperature.
Yeah. So let's see. When it comes to like Joseph Farrell, he often goes on the Dark Journalist podcast. So just like a brief rundown. So one of his books, Covert Wars and Breakaway Civilizations, I believe it came out in 2016. So just a brief overview. The book explores covert wars, breakaway civilizations, secret space programs, and celestial psychological operations. It discusses Nazi counterfeiting and post-war financial fraud, secret societies, intelligence agencies, and shadow governments, advanced technologies capable of weather manipulation, earthquakes, and mind control, UFOs, the extraterrestrial threat, and their connection to the secret space program. The central questions that he tries to answer in this book: does a breakaway civilization exist? How is it financed and maintained? And what is its relationship to the UFO extraterrestrial phenomenon? So if you want, I can kind of go through this a little bit. This is some bullet points here. I'll illuminate some people on what Salvatore was getting at. So part one, when it comes to getting money for this, so he in the book examines industrial scale Nazi counterfeiting during World War II and post-war applications, explores hidden systems of finance linked to covert operations, including bearer bond scandals across Japan, Spain, and Italy, secretive gold caches using some Nazi gold, and connections between financial oligarchs, criminal networks, and intelligence agencies. And so when it comes to, let's go like the PSYOPs. So he analyzes secret societies and their connections to advanced technologies like airships and UFOs, explores military incidents involving UFOs, sightings during Korea and Vietnam, UFO activity near nuclear test sites and missile facilities. And when it comes to PSYOPs, considers the use of PSYOPs to manipulate the public perception of UFOs and the extraterrestrial phenomenon. So the key takeaways from the book: the concept of breakaway civilization involves an elite group with access to advanced technology and hidden from financial systems, because it's all done with basically black market money, criminal money. Secret space program and covert wars are intertwined with global geopolitics and psychological operations. Can't have one without the other. The UFO and extraterrestrial technologies are essential to understanding the motivations and capabilities of these breakaway civilization. And the culture of secrecy and plausible deniability is critical to maintaining the operations of these hidden systems. And so you can't have UFO disclosure without disclosing. You can't have full UFO disclosure without disclosing that there is a breakaway human civilization with advanced tech. And that's why we probably won't ever get full UFO disclosure, because it will unravel this entire thing and show that at least since the early 1900s that there has been this advanced group of humans doing whatever the hell they want. And
to be fair, they're not an advanced group of humans. They're humans with advanced technologies.
Sure, fair enough. That is probably the better way to put it.
They're jerks who.
Yeah, they're jerks. They don't want to share
airships.
Yeah, they don't want to share at all.
They should share that stuff.
Oh boy. I have one last clip here, and we'll take some.
Well, I was going to drive at that.
I'm sorry. Go for it. Yeah.
Do you think somebody like you've got Nikola Tesla coming up with what seems today still to be an advanced, unproven technology, or multiple advanced, unproven technologies? Do you think he was part of that group, or do you think he was somebody who determined or had access to these technologies or was able to develop them, and they didn't like that, and that's why he died penniless in a New York City hotel?
I think kind of like that last one. So he was developing this technology on his own, pretty much. He did have some backers, but he wasn't savvy enough, or wasn't able to attach himself to somebody with some real weight behind them to protect him, or just a bigger group came in and took all of his shit, because he just didn't have it. He didn't have the connections to maintain it. But I think he was developing the stuff in parallel, much like this guy Salvatore was starting to figure this out. But Salvatore, he's attached, I believe, in some way to the U.S. Navy, but he works for a private contractor who, and that contractor is attached to the U.S. Navy in some way. And Salvatore's dodgy with some of his answers, especially in relation to E.T., the Greys, and all. He's almost as though he can't touch on it. Like, he doesn't want to talk about it. So I think Salvatore and Tesla are alike in many ways. It's just Salvatore has protection and Tesla did not. And I think they took the Tesla tech. Either a competing interest or our own government took it. And even in the interview here, Salvatore gave, he says, this technology is not super difficult to understand and replicate. And for it to be widely known, it would give a terrorist organization an immense amount of power. So he says it might be, what he's getting at, it might be for the best that not everyone knows about it, because it could destroy worlds, or at least create such an imbalance in our world that it would cause chaos. If the wrong groups understood this ancient tech and decided to employ it for terroristic purposes, which I could see. But Salvatore also in the interview said that China understands this. They understand this tech. They're pumping out more scientists and mathematicians than we ever could. We can't catch up at this point. And it is possible that they are far ahead of us in understanding this ancient tech and using it at this point. But Salvatore did weigh in. This is the last clip I have. He weighed in and on the MH370 situation. So there's a guy named Ashton. As of last year, Ashton has been a proponent of the orbs. That the orbs are responsible for making that airplane disappear, because there's like a piece of footage that came out where it looked like thermal, and 3 orbs were circling this airplane, and that it just it poofed. It went through a portal, and that was it. Ashton claims that this is legitimate, real footage. There have been people out there that have claimed that it's just a fake. It's just a very clever, intricate fake, but I have yet to see anybody replicate it. But this is Salvatore's take on that, and his assessment of that footage.
And these are these videos where you see these 3 orbs, and they seem to circle around. The MH370 is this Malaysian aircraft. It was on CNN for a couple of months, and it seemed like the civilian aircraft carrying passengers just disappeared in the Southeast Asian territory. And this guy, Ashton Forbes, took to Twitter maybe around a year ago saying he thinks this is man-made tech and that the craft was somehow teleported out of the sky. What do you think?
Don't forget Dave Rossi's 4th orb. That's why Ashton now goes by 4 orbs. Interesting. 4 orbs. There must be 4 orbs. Remember the whole idea that once you open the black hole, what if there is a white hole? But the three orbs would have your 3 axes, hence your point of origin. But there must be a destination, so there must be a 4th orb.
Meaning data mass.
There must be a 4th orb.
So you think this is?
It's not me. Dave Rossi came up with this idea that there must be a 4th orb. I think he's one right on the money. Dave Rossi is a very interesting engineer that should be looked into as well. So he's very smart.
Why would you
brilliant
teleport a commercial airplane, and where did the airplane end up? Is it the plot or the...
All I'm saying is when I saw that thing open up, I saw the Pais effect in action. And I told Ashton Ford, that was his first podcast, Hard Troops podcast. I told him, this is the Pais effect. Oh my God.
So you think we have room temperature superconducting some topic too?
Those orbs also speak to AGI, artificial general intelligence, autonomy, AI autonomy. So we're talking about artificial singularity. I think. I don't know.
It's funny.
So there you go. He's a believer in it. It appears he's a believer in that MH370. He recognizes the phenomenon. He did say, "Hey, that I saw that. It looks like the Pais effect." And so his name is Salvatore Pais. He has coined or trademarked something called the Pais effect, which is a theoretical concept proposed by Salvatore Pais, an aerospace engineer and inventor who, according to this, is working for a United States Space Force. And it describes a generation of extremely high electromagnetic energy fluxes and high local energy densities through a controlled motion of electrically charged matter from solid to plasma states subject to accelerated vibration and or accelerated spin via rapid acceleration transits. You get that? You get all that, Gretchen?
But you have to have the 4th orb there. That's the magic part, right?
Yeah.
Okay, buddy.
Because he was talking about that, like there's a 4th one, which is what brings up the
destination,
the Pais effect.
Yeah, the 4th one is the destination.
Maybe 4?
Yes. maybe 4 orbs. Instead of 4 orbs, Ashton should just go with maybe 4 orbs.
The 2 maybe 4 orbs.
So you got 3 for triangulation, the 4th for the destination.
2.
But
I guess that would logically make sense if you're thinking of X, Y, and Z coordinates for the 3, and then the 4th one in time or I don't know, distance or something. You need that other piece of information to identify a final destination or a location or something.
So it's a deep rabbit hole. It hopefully everyone enjoyed the journey. I'll post the full link to the podcast. You guys can listen if you want to. Fascinating times that we're in. That this is even talked about by people who work for Space Force. That's crazy.
Space Force.
But if this is what Space Force is working on, okay, all right, interesting stuff.
I'm working on something.
Yeah, at least it sounds like they're doing something. At least this guy is, you know. But we'll move over, and I don't know. You want to take some phone calls now, Cratchit?
Let's take some phone calls. Yeah, we got some time.
Sure.
Let's go ahead and take the phone calls.
614
phone calls.
Yes. 614-388-9109. And we'll take some phone calls. Okay.
Have a clean phone line and don't cuss.
Yes. Have a clean phone line and do not cuss.
And don't call in on your speakerphone because it does not sound as good as you think it does.
No, I know it's easy. It's easy to go hands free, but it's not good. Caller, you are on the air.
Hello. Hey guys, it's Luis from Portugal.
Hey, how you doing, man?
Doing good.
Hey, by the way, before you start, my wife and I are thinking about going to Portugal for vacation. What do you think about that?
Oh, good idea.
Yeah,
you'll enjoy the food.
Oh, great.
And they're going to be staying with you, Luis.
Yeah, we're gonna. Can we sleep in your bed?
Not my bed.
Okay.
But the floor.
Okay. Well, thank you. We'll take the.
All right, hang up on him, Mike.
Yeah. So,
if you could send me an email, so I have your email, so I can ask you questions about what I should and shouldn't do in Portugal.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
I'll do it.
Thank you.
So, have you ever heard of a podcast called Forum Borealis?
I have not. No.
Okay, so this is a Norwegian guy, and he does long-form interviews with people like Joseph Farrell and Richard Bolan, and a bunch of interesting people about some of these interesting topics. And I suggest people find his channel on YouTube and watch his Series 1, Timeline of a Breakaway Civilization. The whole series is like 40 videos, 2-hour-long interviews. But I think it's the first video. It's about fuel propulsion experiments and flying machines in the 1860s, and a private club, aero club in the United States called NIMSA that was connected to German nationalists and occultists. And you watch the first video, and you'll get hooked.
I will do it tonight. What's the name of that channel again?
Forum Borealis.
Forum. Yeah.
It's really, and he's got like 7 or 8 series, and it's really, really, really interesting.
I found it. Thank you. Awesome. I'm bookmarking this. I'm going to send this to myself. I love this stuff. Yeah. It sounds like right along the lines of dark journalist and stuff like that. Yeah, this
he's been there too.
Yeah, this human history that we're living, way more complex. We barely know 2% of it. And these guys, they're hiding stuff from us.
Yeah. And this Norwegian guy, he's got a lot of knowledge, and he researches these things, and the interviews are really, really, really interesting. And I think it's the podcast tab.
Okay, cool.
It's really. So that's my suggestion.
Well, I appreciate it. What a great suggestion and topical. Thank you for this. I really appreciate it.
Okay, thanks, guys. Blow me up.
All right, man. Bye. Sleep on your floor.
I was going to say you can make Luis sleep on the floor and you get the bed.
That's not guest. That's not polite. I try to be a good house guest. You can talk to Farmer Matt out there in Hawaii. I like to think we were good house guests.
Saying somehow you managed to shirk all your duties.
No, I did not. I washed dishes. Yeah, I was drinking a little bit. But
you should have been mucking out the pigsties. Come on.
Yeah, I should have. Caller, you're on the air.
What's going on? It's
Destro, hey.
How are you guys doing?
Good. Are you driving somewhere?
I hope so.
I actually am currently in the
worst
truck.
phone.
Yeah, sorry about that.
It's all right.
But I thought maybe in Joe's absence, I could scratch that itch ever so slightly and just give a quick rundown of how things are feeling here in D.C.
I would love to hear it.
It's so, I mean, obviously I run in circles that are going to give me a little bit of a bias, but it's pretty ecstatic. I don't know if Trump really even sleeps, maybe just like 30-minute naps every 24 to 48 hours, but he has just been on a tear. And the mood is very positive, very, I think he's just like going to be done being president in a few months, and then he's just going to coast because he's just getting so much accomplished. And I got a few friends who've moved into the administration. They're pretty, optimistic. This is the Trump that the left always feared we could have, and it's kind of their own making. What they've done to this man for the past 4 years, and now he's back. Dare I say, he's back in a big way.
Absolutely. Well, I know people are very optimistic, but we've seen some of these moves by Trump. We haven't seen any counter moves from the bureaucrats that really aren't on board yet. So we haven't seen the counter moves yet.
So on that note, I can speak a little bit anecdotally that so the mayor of D.C. is refusing to release some of the J6 people who pardoned. She's a very, very low quality politician, but she's trying to hold up some of the pardons, and there's a lot of people in the area. The mood is just, we have a lot of contractors and federal employees in our area, and their mood is pretty low. Their morale is pretty low, but there will be hits back. I think the JFK, RFK, MLK, release it. Yeah, a lot of people have been like, is Trump a psyop? Can anyone get to that point without being somehow connected on the inside? Just kind of looking from a few steps back as a normal citizen, I'm not an intelligence or anything. Stepping back and looking at what we're seeing play out, I don't think he's at all some kind of inside psyop. I mean, they hate this man, and he's hitting back very hard. He's got no more fucks to give, and I think he has nothing at this point to worry about except his ultimate legacy. He doesn't have to ever run again. He's secured his position as probably politically one of the greatest stories in American presidential history. So I'm ecstatic. I'm very optimistic. The morale of a lot of my neighbors is very low, but these are the kinds of people who, frankly, need to get their ass back to work. If they're going to disobey the president of the United States, who is functionally their boss and leader, then fuck them. They know that they can go. We have no need for people who don't serve the interests of the American people.
I would agree, and it's okay for people to be a little sad. They didn't get the way they wanted, but as we've seen with some of the undercover videos from James O'Keefe, there are people that are appointed or just work for some kind of company that are fairly influential within the administration who seek to jam up the works. They even have stated that they will create fake committees and present fake reports to RFK Jr. if he's looking for a review on vaccines or fluoride. That this guy flat out said in an undercover video, we seek to jam these guys up, which he's just one low-level guy. You can only imagine that the entire bureaucratic apparatus is teeming with these people. How do you weed them out?
Yeah, I mean that's the challenge. How and can you do it? But I'm still optimistic. You know, Trump is not by no means a perfect man. No man is. He's going to have stumbles along the way. He's going to make, you know, you guys were talking earlier actually about the FDA, or is it the FDA, the woman who, or Department of Agriculture, who's coming in from a seed oil lobbying background. There's going to be, nothing is going to be play out perfectly.
Yeah.
But I think there's a lot of reason for optimism, and this is, you know, on a personal level, it transcends, you know, partisanship. I'm not registered either party, but this is the best version of Trump we've ever seen.
Yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe this is the best version.
This is a hand grenade that we wanted to throw in, and let's see how it plays out.
Yeah.
But I love you guys staying on top of the drones. Like, damn, what are just like a flash in the pan? Like, it was huge, and then it just disappeared, and it's really frustrating. Like,
so,
what was that?
So it's still going on, and I didn't play the clip. I'll do a summary next episode. So New Jersey politicians are still suggesting that this is going on. There is one New Jersey mayor suggesting that these orbs of light are transforming into aircraft the closer that they get. And they are talking to the press about this. They're on record saying, we have seen these balls of light transform into aircraft. Now, whether or not that's some sort of optical illusion, some effect from the camera, I don't know. We can only take him at his word that this is what they are seeing. And these drone incursions are still happening. It's just that since Trump has gotten in the office, there is bigger pieces of news. Now, Trump has said he's going to release the information. He's appointed somebody to release what this is. I haven't seen any movement on this whatsoever.
Yeah, I saw that. Well, I saw one video with that claim of it transforming. I got to tell you, I very much want to believe, but I think that was a camera focus issue, and that it was a plane all along.
Yeah, maybe.
But the Empire will strike back, and I think that unfortunately there will be events in 2025 that are going to be very unfortunate on U.S. soil. I have that from friends who work in DOD who are very apprehensive about that, and it's irrespective of who the president is, that there are forces at work that will be unfortunate events, I think, are in store this year. Homegrown, or not homegrown, but homeland terrorist attacks. I think, unfortunately, that has not been put to bed. We've been very fortunate for a little over 20 years now on the home front, but I think that there are some large things, potentially Mumbai-style, Paris-style events. And that's, again, no crystal ball, no special knowledge. It's just that's what my intuition and my understanding is leading me towards. So something for everybody to keep in mind. Other than that, great show. Baba Booey, Baba Booey.
1 second. Hey, Cretched, can you ask Destro one question while I go let Bogey outside? He's 14. He's got to go outside.
Yeah, so Jeff, what's your thought about Mike getting rid of his dog, who seems to be very demanding today and is causing all sorts of issues?
He did just say he's going to take him out. Is that what?
He said take him outside, but...
okay.
All right, here's a serious question for you. Yeah, I mean, in general, I mean, I'm not a Trumper or anything like that. In general, I'm a political contrarian. So whatever makes the most people upset means it's anti-status quo, and thus it is probably a good thing. I think the less that government does, the more that they're bickering, the less stupid rules they put in place. That's all well and good. So in general, if nothing else, if Trump is stirring up shit in his first couple of months of his in office, whatever, that's a good thing, because if it makes the Washington establishment upset, That's only good for the American people.
So be it.
My thoughts exactly. Very succinct. When both sides are agreeing, trouble ahead.
Well, thank you, Destro. We appreciate your time calling in with your information and inside information from D.C. Drive safe, buddy.
Yep, I'm Lloyd.
I like hearing what people feel are feeling in D.C. Sounds like it.
It's
nervous
very
Nelly.
much a good boots on the ground there. D.C. is very much Trump always calls it the swamp. It very much is. It is a town full of lifelong bureaucrat technocrats who get hired in at some of these massive agencies. Some of these agencies you've never heard of have thousands and thousands of employees, and people work there for 30 years.
Yeah. Caller, you are the last one on the horn. Go for it.
Hello, I'd just like to comment on the previous caller.
Yeah, sure.
The drones, there was something that kind of slipped under the radar about the drones, that one of them that the police had captured was made by Amogy. And Amogy makes drones that run off of ammonia. That's why they have such a long loiter time. What it does is it breaks through electrolysis, it breaks the ammonia into both nitrogen and hydrogen.
So this is a new type of power system for drones. Now, did the police who got this drone give any indication of its origin?
Just that it was something to do with the naval base that was found nearby, and it was apparently some sort of a contract with the MOG company.
Interesting. It just seems like there are better ways to test this stuff than to do some sort of mass panic along the eastern seaboard, unless it was part of some psychological operation that they were contracted, in essence, to do. Yeah, they were contracted to fly these drones, but for what purpose?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what the question is.
Interesting.
And then the other comment too is about Trump. I'm cautiously apprehensive about the presidency, because it seems like he's doing some of the Club of Rome. If you're familiar with the Club of Rome, they were a group that was formed to try to create like a North American Union, or basically break the world into 10 kingdoms. And one of them being is a combination of the United States, Greenland, and Canada.
It does feel that way. It does feel as though Trump is going right along those lines with the Club of Rome. He's doing some things a little different, yeah. It does seem like a North American Union is in our near future, but he did sign an executive order that is prohibiting a central bank digital currency. That's not to say the next president won't completely just erase that executive order and then institute one, or that the Federal Reserve just won't make one on their own outside of the executive order. But yeah, I would say cautiously optimistic. I'm with you, but he is definitely making some moves that he's looking at it as pure business deals and not necessarily from a civil rights standpoint, especially with those AI moves. I like that he's investing in technology and wants AI, but I'm hesitant with giving so much control over to these automatons.
Yeah, and that's all I have.
All right, man.
I'll call in next time for my G.I. Joe name.
Please do. All right.
Blow me up.
Bye. Let's blow him up. Let's close down the phone line so no one else can call in, so we can get him. There we go. Thank you, everyone, for calling in. And we are going to get right over to Cratchit. Are you ready?
Yeah, let's figure it out.
You get a ding dong. You have so impressed me.
All right, let's start with, where is it here? Start with this one. Okay. So here's a story which seems pretty benign, seems pretty some pretty milquetoast, pretty run of the mill, pretty vanilla. And yet for no reason They keep bringing Trump into the story. They are shoehorning. Shoehorning's not a big enough word for what this is. Trying to get Trump into the story.
Probably for SEO reasons.
Could very much be because they get it in the headline, and they get it in the URL slug. So I almost guarantee you're right. It's for search engines to trickle it towards the top. So I just want to bring it up as the sort of just goofball nonsense we're going to see related to doing anything they can to somehow make stuff about Trump.
Here's the headline: Pandas like Trump are back in Washington.
And it only makes common sense.
Yes.
Yes.
I don't know if it's common sense, but moreover, President Trump, the newest stars in Washington, are two giant pandas who made their public debut on Friday in front of hundreds of adoring fans. Bao Li and Queen Bao rambled around their enclosure, played in the snow, and munched on bamboo at the Smithsonian's National Zoo in the U.S. Capitol. The two, who arrived from China in October, have been in quarantine while their home was renovated with new climbing structures, water features, and rock stones. I wonder if they got the Property Brothers to renovate their enclosure.
Interesting little thing there. They've been there since October, but now because they can say, well, Trump somehow related, here's pandas.
Trump's love these guys.
He should go visit them.
Yeah.
Sign an executive order to get them out of the country.
They give them more room. Give them more acreage.
Take an acre. An acre, you have a house on a half an acre, on a quarter of an acre, or an acre. If you have an acre, you have a big deal.
Yeah, they need an acre at least, I think.
Per panda.
Per panda, exactly. Bao Li and Bao and Quinn are both 3 years old and are part of a 10-year agreement with China after previous pandas in Washington returned home in 2023. Their arrival is the latest chapter of so-called panda diplomacy, in which China's black and white bears are sent across the globe as soft power ambassadors. So we're talking about Chinese panda spies here.
Yeah. What are those pandas doing over there?
Super secret cybernetic panda spies. That's what we're talking about here. But maybe it's not that nefarious, but we'll find out. Let's see if I can read. Let's see if there's anything else here.
There's not much to the story. I just brought it up because they're doing everything they can to shoehorn Trump into it somehow.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with this. It was all done.
This is
the previous
pre-planned.
administration. It's been a long-standing agreement to have pandas shipped back and forth or whatever. Then they take them down to Panda Express and turn them into orange chicken. I don't know what happens, but
yeah. I like that we have pandas. Pandas are fun. They're cute, but
giant raccoons.
They are spies. There's just no denying that.
Remember we had that story a few months ago about a zoo, I think it was in China, who didn't have a panda, so the guy dressed up as one.
Yeah,
so
that works. And sometimes they paint dogs up like pandas too.
Makes you wonder who's actually acting as the pandas in this case.
Oh.
Me, Hulk Hogan.
Damn it. Walk right into it.
Hulk Hogan is dressed up as a panda in this case.
That panda's pretty big.
He's body slammed some park goer.
What's a panda wearing a bandana on his head?
Panda just dropped a leg on him. Well, we'll see what else you got over there. I want my Moogie.
What?
I want my Moogie.
Not sure what that is. Let's see. I had this story for Joe. I'll hang on to that one for a little bit. But
that's great,
Bob. Let's go with this one. This is a fun one from Canada. The Royal Canadian Mounted Police are urging people to wear seatbelts. That makes sense.
Yeah. Buckle up, people.
Some fun video in this one here. Let's see if we get this into the carrot shop. Because apparently seatbelts are still a problem in a lot of Canadian provinces.
Just before I read this, Wilford in the chat called pandas low IQ. They're low IQ animals. I'm sure that's something Trump would say about the pandas, that they're not that smart. But
let's get one to take it.
I don't know. Are they out of all the bears, are they the dumbest? It could be.
I think they're not bears is the thing. So
no, really.
They're part of the raccoon family, whatever it is.
We don't know what's happening.
But we have this this story right here, please. Seatbelts could prevent many car crash fatalities, says the Royal Canadian Mounted Police expert.
Oh, really?
They could prevent? So what's
Maybe,
going on?
I don't know. I'm skeptical of this information. I've never
The
heard
RCMP investigated 77 fatal incidents last year in Nova Scotia. Dustin Durrett of the Force's Collision and Reconstruction Unit says some of those deaths could have been prevented had people been wearing seatbelts. They don't got a law up there?
Well, I think that's the thing is it is the law, just like it is in the U.S. and many other, not every other country. But a lot of people apparently still don't wear seatbelts. I don't know about you, but having grown up wearing seatbelts and then wearing seatbelts when you're driving, it feels unnatural to be in a vehicle without one.
It's second nature at this point, and even if I don't want to wear a seatbelt, I get beeped at and harassed by my car until I put one on.
Yes.
And this is do you want me to play this report?
Yeah, play the video.
Let's play the video. Okay.
Especially watch the crash. The crash. What do they call it? Not reconstruction, but the mock-up they've got going there.
Okay, we'll watch this.
Take a look at this. Take a look at... Now, take a closer look. That figure flying through the air is a crash test dummy. It was sitting in the passenger seat, but was not wearing a seatbelt. Look at that. That's happening
guy.
more often than you might think.
I can tell you
got some serious
that
error.
I investigated a collision last year.
He also lost his
where
pants.
At a very high rate of speed,
those
the vehicle lost traction, started to yaw across the highway, and tumbled in very much the same manner that we see here on the video. One occupant was restrained, and one occupant was not. The unrestrained occupant was ejected and died at the scene, and the restrained occupant, while injured, did not die.
Dustin Durrett is with the RCMP's Collision and Reconstruction Section, or CARS. When you hear of a highway being closed because of an accident, the CARS team is on the scene, trying to figure out what went wrong.
Whatever. When we go to a crash scene, we have a number of desired objectives. Direction of travel of the vehicles, area of impact, speed, actions before the collision, whether there's a braking or steering actions before collision. Those are some of the items we try and determine, and using our scene evidence, we would do that.
Great, the CARS team brings a variety of tools to a crash scene, including a drone to get a bird's eye view of things, and devices for measuring road conditions and other details, like skid marks. They also get information from the car itself through the so-called black box. It records things like the speed of the vehicle, whether brakes were applied, and when the airbags might have deployed. That accident Durrett investigated last year was one of 77 fatal accidents that RCMP investigated in 2024. That's a big increase over previous years, and in many of those cases, the fatalities were caused by people not wearing seatbelts.
Wow,
that's
the number of times that I've gone to a crash where in my mind, had the occupant or a person's been wearing a seatbelt and they would have survived, for me, once is too many.
Good luck.
All they had to do was buckle up. And they would have been inside the car versus outside the car, or they would have been certainly not bounced around as much.
Who gives a shit?
But ejection,
Who gives a fuck?
being ejected out of the vehicle with no seatbelt on, in my mind, there's no excuse for that.
Wearing a seatbelt has been the law in Nova Scotia since 1984. But right from the
it's
beginning,
just one of those things where it's weird to me. They're going through this big campaign to encourage people to wear seatbelts because apparently
it's the law.
Well, law or not, people just don't.
These lawless Nova Scotians, they're a bunch of anarchists, I tell you. They don't like wearing seatbelts up there.
I apparently not. This was a very strange headline to me.
But yeah, there's a law in the books up there. I would imagine. It's just that people don't like wearing them. Maybe because they're wearing or they're driving older cars that don't have that annoying beeping warning when you're not.
Or people do the thing where you plug their seatbelt in, connect the seatbelt up, and then you sit on top.
Oh, I see. Then you sit down. Okay.
Yeah.
You sit on top of your seatbelt.
It thinks it's connected. It senses the weight of the passenger, says, I need to have a seatbelt connected, and it is. And so, okay, fine. And then off you go.
Ah, you fooled them. You fool your, yeah, I get it. Okay.
Fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice. Can't get fooled again.
Pure fiction.
Interesting. Okay. Well, it's a big deal up there to the Nova Scotians, and we
apparently
hope,
people getting ejected too, which is
those crash test dummies. They were getting some serious air for people listening at home,
and lost their pants. So
yeah, and probably some shoes too. So if you're living in Nova Scotia, just look on the side of the road. Free pants
and shoes.
Bit morbid, but okay.
Welcome to Earth.
I have an Ohio story for you. We always seem to find Ohio stories.
Oh, Ohio stories, yeah.
Yes.
That was not the reaction I was expecting, but okay. I'm sure you're familiar with the Skyline brand of chili restaurants.
Yes.
Or as when I was growing up, as they were known, Scalini. It was an Italian restaurant.
Skyline Chili. Absolutely.
And I'm not sure. I know it's more in southern Ohio, but I don't know if up where you are, if they have Grater's ice cream as well.
Yeah, we have Grater's ice cream up here. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, let's put those two together and take two big Ohio brands and have some Skyline chili ice cream. How about that?
Oh my God!
By the way, do not play the news story. It's fake. It's a trick.
I don't know if I can deal with it. This is incredible. Skyline chili flavored ice cream combines two Ohio's favorites.
What the fuck?
That should have been the reaction of somebody at the table when somebody suggested this.
Ohio-based ice cream brand Grater's Ice Cream announced on Friday that its newest flavor, Skyline Spice, is a collaboration with another Cincinnati icon, Skyline Chili.
Oh my. Man, I got mixed emotions about this one.
I do too. I got some big time.
I'm trepidatious about this, being like, I'm not. I like Grater's ice cream. I like Skyline chili. I do not want those two things together.
This wacky yet wonderful creation combines Grater's handcrafted French pot ice cream with oyster crackers and Skyline's signature chili spice mix, offering the best of both worlds from these two beloved Cincinnati eateries. Everyone knows chili. Everyone who knows chili knows Skyline, and as longtime fans ourselves, we're eager to collaborate with a one-of-a-kind, must-try flavor. Richard Grater, fourth-generation president and CEO of Grater's Ice Cream, said in a press release.
Do you think he lost a bet?
They must have got drunk at a Christmas party together. Because they're both Cincinnati. They're probably at some Christmas parties like, yeah, man, we should fucking do chili ice cream. And they must have wrote it down on a napkin. And that napkin's a binding contract.
There was a notary right behind him.
I'm like, oh, shit, we got to do this now? There were witnesses. He continued, last year, speculation about our unconventional, somewhat polarizing partnership started a social media frenzy. I didn't hear about it. And I'm on social media. I didn't hear about it.
I'm not sure your grandma posting about it on Facebook, buddy, is a social media friend.
Well, to his point, I don't follow Grater's or Skyline Chili on Twitter, so I may have missed this one. But to continue on here, we spent months perfecting the recipe and are extremely happy to confirm the rumors are true, and the flavor will surprise you.
Will it, though?
I'm upset by this.
Yeah. The flavor is sweet, savory, and unlike any ice cream or chili lovers have ever tasted before. This unholy hybrid will send you straight to the bathroom. I added that part in there. He didn't say that. He's not going to put that in a press release.
They are recommending that you eat it only in the bathroom.
Eat it on the toilet.
Yeah.
That's the only way that you're going to save yourself.
People are flushing toilets 10 times, 15 times.
Yeah. Oh, my God. I just can't picture these two together. I mean, do I have to try it now, Gretchen? I am in a location in which I do have a Grater's like 30 minutes away from me. I can get there.
It says down at the bottom, it says Grater's Skyline Spice Ice Cream available at a limited time at Skyline restaurants, Grater's Scoop Shops, as well as select Kroger throughout Cincinnati, Columbus, Indianapolis, and Louisville. So, yeah, swing by your local Grater's and see if you can try this.
Let's do it.
I really hope it comes with like spaghetti and cheese on top.
Yeah. So it looks like this mess of chili I have on screen right here, but it's ice cream. I don't know.
I don't know about this.
I'm going to try it. I will. Next time I go out to Half Price Books, maybe next week sometime. Is this like a permanent or is it like a limited run?
I think it's a limited run, and depending on how many people get the runs, then they'll determine whether or not they keep it, I guess.
I'll send this to my buddies, and we're planning on a Half Price Books run here pretty soon. And so when they come down, I'm going to convince them we're stopping off at Graders and we're doing this.
Ugh.
So.
Said President and CEO of the Cincinnati Regional Chamber posted on Twitter, "Don't hate, it's delicious. Tried it last night." All right, fair enough. But then he says, "Can't wait to try it with hot sauce."
Yeah, that's great, isn't it?
I don't trust this man for any sort of culinary advice.
Oh.
I tell you, don't do it. Don't you ever do that. Don't you ever do that.
Oh, boy. All right, let's see what else you got over there.
What'd you do?
I don't know. It just seems. I mean, I guess they could have done it right and like really combined the flavors and done a whole thing. But my fear is it's just going to be here's some vanilla ice cream with chili on top of it.
Think about this. We've been covering these unholy hybrid, like these two different like brands coming together for like a long time. And like with Ritz had a combination, Oreo has had these combinations, and it's a great way to get their names out there for advertising. It's fun, we like talking about it, obviously, but when it comes down to whether or not it's actually good, it's undetermined because they have such a limited run. Not a good portion of the population ever gets a chance to taste these things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and to that point, if it really was good, wouldn't it stick around as a permanent product?
Yeah, just be part of the menu. Yeah.
So, all right. Well, speaking of unholy hybrids, it's not food this time, but how about an unholy hybrid event at our favorite location to keep up with the news? And this comes from our exclusive Dutch news agency who covers only one topic. And that comes from our buddy Herman, who covers only what's happening at Chuck E. Cheese. And there is video of this where they discuss it. So apparently Chuck E. Cheese is now hosting special events.
Would you go to a wedding at Chuck E. Cheese?
We're doing it.
I don't know. Maybe.
A lot of pizza grease on that wedding dress.
Certainly it's going to be memorable. That's for sure.
Well, once the fight breaks out, yeah.
Yeah. Let me see if I can play this.
We've just met. I want you to know that I just established a new rule in life, okay? Are you ready? Do not invite me to your wedding unless it's officiated by Charles Entertainment Cheese.
I got invited to a wedding at Chuck E. Cheese in Everett, and how could I say no?
I was like, hello, I heard that you guys do weddings now. And they were like, I'm going to put you on hold. And then it was a long hold. And then finally he came back and was like, yeah, I guess you can just book it like a birthday party.
By the way, Matt Shearer from WBZ News Radio in Boston does these amazing videos. That happened in Everett, Massachusetts.
This is all
By the
wrong.
way, it only cost them $880 for the wedding.
Now that is amazing.
Right. Yeah. So, Chad, you're the MC of the panel. Is this a paragon of events or what?
That's right. Listen, when I first read about this, I thought it was a horrible idea. But after seeing that, I'm like, this is the right venue for somebody. Not necessarily myself, not necessarily my wife, but this is the right place for somebody. I'm all for Chuck E. Cheese weddings.
I'm with
I think they paved the way. I think we're going to see
Come
more
on.
and more, and that Chuck E. Cheese parking lot is going to be popping for the after party.
I mean, like,
Who holds an after party in
food
the
is
parking lot?
already there. I don't know. Is there liquor at
Yes,
these Chuck E.
I can't
Cheeses?
confirm.
Come on.
I have not been to a Chuck E. Cheese in years, but I do remember growing up, the one back home, there was like the little beer and wine area. And that's one of the reasons we saw so many fights at Chuck E. Cheese's. Likely through the years.
That's the reason.
When's the last time you were at a Chuck E. Cheese?
So I'm 28. It's probably been at least 20 years.
Yeah.
But I'll go back. I'll win a new Barbie doll. Come on. Like, what a great wedding party gift.
I'm telling you, bro.
Okay, so
Chuck E.
full of
Cheese is
shit today.
that's a destination wedding.
By the way,
right?
did you know the E does stand for entertainment? It is Charles Entertainment
I had no
Cheese.
idea it was
I never
Charles.
knew.
You come here, you learn on
I
like it or
know
not.
so much, and that makes it sound like very regal and more of a wedding destination. Charles Entertainment, but it is a destination, and
It
so
is.
I think just like other destination weddings, you can pick and choose if you're asked to go there if you want to go.
Yeah.
No one ever is obligated to go to a wedding. I mean, some may feel more pressure than others depending on how close you are. So if you
That's
really
not true.
are against it, don't go. It's very much kids' birthday parties, but that couple, they were cute. That was their
Yeah.
thing. I mean, I always am like, why are adults getting married at Disney? And so this is just a little
'Cause
bit
they're
like of a
pedophiles.
smaller scale.
And that's right.
Get it home. So
Yeah.
Not everybody can afford Disney, but they can
Exactly.
afford Chuck E. Cheese.
And think of all the tickets you can get and all the favors
Hello.
and all the. You don't even have to register for anything. You can win your own wedding gifts there.
All right, thanks, Gwen.
I do like it. I like that idea. I think it's innovative, especially when if you're on a budget. Weddings are expensive, and this might be something that sparks your imagination. And it's fun for the entire family.
Well sucked man.
Oops.
By the way, yeah, not that one.
Yeah.
In the chat, thanks to Great Iron Chris, he suggests that the E in Chuck E. Cheese is actually for erection.
No, okay. Can you consummate your marriage in the ball pit? Is that what they're suggesting?
I think when you rent Chuck E. Cheese, you do you. So
you rent it all out. Whatever happens, happens.
Whatever.
I think most people are disappointed if they go to a destination wedding at a fancy place like Chuck E. Cheese and there's not a fight. So you might want to, if you don't think one's going to break out, you might want to have a couple of ringers to start that.
Yeah.
Because people want that full Chuck E. Cheese experience.
It's pretty much the entertainment. You don't have to hire a band because you got that mechanical band, which they decommission, but I would.
Which they're taking out.
Yeah, they're taking those out, so there's no wedding band. So you got to hire people to fight, a pit fight.
But that's the purpose of a destination wedding. It's a larger experience. So people want to be able to remember the experience of going to a destination wedding. So if your destination wedding is at Chuck E. Cheese, make sure it involves fights and suspicious stains in the ball pit.
I agree. 100%.
You want the whole experience.
Yeah, get it all.
Some things never change.
All right. This story is actually from last year. We somehow missed this one.
Oh, my.
This was January of 2024. So actually 1 year ago today is the headline on this one, the dateline on this one. But it's reporting on stuff that was happening in late 2023 in Utah. And thanks to our friend Steve at Fox and Sons for this one. Some shenanigans going on in Utah related to some local crimes.
Aw, shucks.
With some unique, let's say a unique theme to each of these.
Okay. Well, crime spree, maybe.
And a new name, potentially.
Fish bandit arrested for taping fish to ATM machines.
That's a funny headline.
That is a funny headline. That's what it says. You may want to read it again. I don't know.
That is a funny headline. Thank you, Alex. That is. I don't think I've read a headline like this for quite a while. But a teen whose Instagram username is at fishbandit84 has been arrested in Provo, Utah for taping fish to ATMs and other objects. What are these other objects? The 17-year-old executed these bizarre pranks more than a dozen times from August through December. ABC4 and Fox 13 in Salt Lake City reported, but they weren't always in the Provo or Orem areas. He did some of these strange antics internationally, too, posting videos of them on his Instagram account where his bio states, live, laugh, tape fish to ATMs. Wow, okay. Were these living fish? Because they look like wild fish, and that's kind of cruel to do to fish.
Fresh caught.
And this is very cruel.
Well, maybe the fish needed some money.
One Instagram video shows a fish taped to an ATM in Tokyo in what appears to be a subway station. Quote, "We're going international," the perpetrator wrote on the post. Well, other fishy videos were purported to have been taken in Frankfurt, Germany, Guatemala City, Guatemala, and Phoenix, Arizona.
Why didn't they give Phoenix a location?
Yeah, they just said Phoenix. Like, we know is in Arizona.
We know where Phoenix is.
And yet another was taken in a bathroom stall of a Bass Pro Shop store. How about that?
I'm more curious about what that guy's doing with the fish in the bathroom stall.
He used a variety of fish such as trout, bluegill, bass, catfish, carp, and carpe. Crappie. Is it called crappie?
It's crappie.
That's carpe. It's French. It's a French fish. And one fish had a cigarette in his mouth. Well, that's not healthy.
That's the fish's problem.
Yeah. In one instance, he taped a trout to a Provo police car. Now this is getting into penis man territory here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Pushing the envelope with the police.
Penis man.
Really provoking the authorities here. This is when they took note.
And if you put it on the other side, so if you put it not on the driver's door, but over on the passenger side of the police cruiser, you could probably see how many days it would stay there before they noticed.
Like, what's that smell? The teen faces 2 charges of property damage stemming from the cost of the cleanup, ABC4 reported. The case was referred to Juvenile Justice and Youth Services. Boy, I wonder if this kid's 18 now. He could be in the big slammer. Dude, hard time for this.
Well, they didn't identify him, so it's going to make it tough to track down. But I don't know. See if there's a follow-up.
You can't subpoena Instagram?
Well, if you go to his Instagram page now, it's completely blank. So what used to have, 50,000 followers or whatever, clearly he's had to shut that down.
I'm on Fish Bandit 84. There's nothing there.
Yeah, he got in Dutch with the law.
He only has 123 followers, and I am one of them.
Yeah, now he's 124.
Let's see. Yep, 124 followers. Yep, there we go.
See, it looks like you may have moved over to TikTok.
Really? Let's see. Let me see if the Fish Bandit's over there on TikTok.
Oh, the Fish Bandit. So
I'm going
not
to
sure if it's the same person or not.
I'm going to TikTok right now. He might have impersonators.
It says, discover the thrill of the Fish Bandit, dive into exciting adventures, and catch the fun with our engaging content. This sounds like it's AI-generated garbage.
Trying to engage with content. Here's the Fish Bandit. He's got 3,000 followers. Yeah, this is him. He's got a picture of himself in the bathroom. Okay, he's on TikTok now. He has totally moved away. He's now part of the Chinese infrastructure. There it is. I'm going to bring it up over here. He's in the bathroom. He's got this really good one of him in the bathroom.
Not really keen on the taking fish into the bathroom, I think.
He's still at it. And this was, that's just 2023. So his last one.
Police believe they tracked down the teen who's been taping fish.
Taped fish? Taping fish?
To ATMs.
ATMs and a police car.
He's got merch he's selling. Basically, he's got link in bio for
tracked down the team who's been
this guy's selling merch in the bio. So let's see if we can get to that right now. And yep, fishbandit.myshopify.com. No fish were harmed in the making of this dope ass merch. But you killed plenty of fish, dude. Plenty of fish. And they're all out. Like I can't even order anything. So yeah, he's offline. I think he went underground.
Yep. Probably had a lawyer advise him to knock it off.
Yeah, probably.
Well, and he's 17, so they didn't name him as a minor. And if he quit all his crimes before he turns 18, which he is now, over a year later, then he's in the clear. So
they're just going to let it go. And yeah, you know what?
And in a few years, this dude will be working for someone listening to this right now, and you won't even know about it.
He went out on top.
Went out on a high note?
Yeah, he went out on top. Yeah. All right, we're getting out of here, people. Well, thank you, everyone, for hanging out during this Saturday Fun Day show.
Oh, we didn't play the Saturday Fun Day.
No, we didn't. I'll do it right now.
Relax.
Wait. No, not that one.
It's over here.
Saturday by day. Saturday.
We'll be back on Wednesday with some more dazzling news headlines that surely will entertain and enlighten.
Or at least infuriate.
Yeah. Might upset you a little bit, too. It's okay.
And your exclusive comprehensive coverage of the drones.
Yes, I'll do a drone update. I think Joe will be fascinated with that. Yama, 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 yama.
Yama, 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 yama.
Is that Police Academy 4?
Be Citizens on Patrol.
Citizens on Patrol.
Probably one of the best.
You're coloring that with
I know, rose-colored glasses. I know I'm wearing. I'm looking back very fondly. Still trying to get the Police Academy movies on Blu-ray. You know, thought Santa was going to give me a full box set of Police Academy on Blu-ray, but he didn't. I'll have to go buy them.
I'll make a note for next year then.
I'll when I go to Half Price Books, I'll see if they got them. They do. I still don't want to pay too much. And don't forget, if you're in the Columbus area, buy tickets to see Sam Tripoli and Eddie Bravo at the Columbus Funny Bone coming up, I believe, on next week. I think. I'll double check my calendar, but go to the Columbus Funny Bone and buy tickets. I'll be there hanging out, watching the show with you, nice people. So it's Sam and Eddie live at the Columbus Funny Bone. They weren't. I was at the Columbus Funny Bone last night, and they were not advertising the same show, and I was pretty upset. Usually, like, there was like posters up and like slideshows playing on TVs, like of the upcoming comics. They didn't even mention Sam and Eddie. I got to go back and rough them up.
Flying under the radar, or that check didn't clear yet?
I don't know. I got to rough them up. Well, thank you, Cratchit, and thank you, everyone. Shablagoo.
Keep watching the skis because there's out of focus drones up there.
It's not about fishing. We're talking Who the hell are you? That's right. Who the hell are you? Are you a farmer? Are you a doctor? Are you a rancher? Are you a shopkeeper? Are you a advisor? Are you a salesman? Are you a police officer? Are you a reptoid? Are you an alien? A lawyer or a paralegal? It doesn't matter whether you're a masseuse, whether you're a grocery checker. You could be a police officer. You could be a school teacher. You could be a trash collector. You could be a politician. You could be a musician. You could be a nurse. That's what Thomas Jefferson wanted.
That's about all. Shablagoo. Sit, Ubu, sit. Good dog.
Well, now you know the rest of the story.
Can I just have some weed?